It's these podcasts are fun. They're also detrimental to my mornings the next morning. But hey,
Yeah.
this is all I ask for every single time. Just give me a good hockey game to watch. I'll come record a podcast with my buddy, give you guys some sports content for the week. And I mean, the last two Avalanche games have been that and much more. We'll talk plenty about that. But Nick, was it worth it missing game 3 for Saturday? We both ended up going to Luke Combs. Was it worth it?
The thing is, I didn't miss it.
Yeah.
Between sets, between performers, you bet your ass I have it on my phone. I saw pictures everywhere. Shout out Ryan Konigsberg, the DNVR Broncos guy. I ran into him in the stands. He was one section over from me. He was watching the Avs game. I was pissing.
Oh, you were frozen there for a second.
Oh shoot, am I tweaking?
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, man, it was. I mean, I didn't watch every second of the game. I was more getting the goal update highlights of on my phone while the game was going on. But yeah, it felt good getting to have a win, hearing "Let's Go Avs" chants as you're exiting Mile High Stadium, trying to sardine pack the light rail back home, and everybody chanting "Let's Go Avs." Like there ain't no better feeling.
Did you make the first train or the second
one?
No,
I missed the first one. I hit the second one.
I had to hit the second one too. We were there.
We're probably on the same train.
Yeah, we're just on different. Bree and I just stayed on one spot after we missed the first one because it started to get a little animalistic. If I would have missed the second one, we would have seen me downtown somewhere. Yeah. I would have been making a call to your dad.
Yeah, I would have called Uber, but the Uber's $150. I was like, yeah, I'll wait 20 minutes. I'll be all right. I'll watch the highlights on my phone from the game and see everything that's going on Twitter from the game.
I did it old school. I tried to avoid it as much as possible. It was very difficult, especially because I wore a damn Avs sweater to the concert on Saturday. So everybody was either go Avs or, hey, you know the score is this? I was like, no. I guess not. I had my hat.
There was a lot of Avs jerseys. There was a lot.
Yeah.
And then Zach Bryan, who was one of the openers, wearing an Avs colored shirt. I don't think that was by mistake. That's all I'm going to say. But
no. I thought that if it wasn't cold, we probably would have got a costume change from Luke. But at the Morgan Wallen concert, we had a guy. The middle guy did Broncos jersey first, and then he did a DU jersey, which I think he thinks DU hockey is way bigger in Colorado than it actually is. But I'll give him an A for effort. It was a nice thought. But no, we'll move past the Luke Combs concert. It was a hell of a show, by the way. One of my favorites that I've been to.
One of the best concerts I've been to by far.
Yeah. So game 3, the Colorado Avalanche do what you need to do in a 7-game series. You at least win one game on the road. We know we're recording this after game 4 happened, but just thinking about game 3, it was a gritty. It was exactly the kind of bounce back game we were wondering would happen, and it was the bounce back game we said needed to happen after the loss in game 2, and St. Louis pretty much thoroughly dominated you with that new system that they had in game 2. You're able to figure it out in game 3. Everybody was stepping up. Unfortunately, you got the main point of that game is the injuries. First to Girard, 42 seconds into the game, a broken sternum on not a dirty hit, but definitely an unfortunate hit. And then
it's the type of hit you look at, you're like, if I was on the other side of that, I probably not have hated that. And I agree. I agree. That's a playoff hit. It's unfortunate but when the road to the cup is not a smooth path. That's all I'll say.
No, it's one of those hits that remind you that hockey is a contact sport. It's a collision sport. And these guys, as fast as the Avalanche are and as fancy as they like to skate, every now and then if somebody gets crunched, and it looks worse than it is because Girard's head just goes right to the dasher anyways when he's just standing up. And I think it wasn't Buchnevich. Barbashev. Yeah, Barbashev. And you should have known with Barbashev, that's all he does. He's there to throw big, legal, somewhat unfortunate body checks. And that's what he did. So Sam Girard goes down early, and then Binnington leads us to our next topic of discussion for game 3. Nazem Kadri's going for a loose puck in the crease. The defenseman, I believe, I'm blanking on their name. I don't even want to give.
It's something.
Not one of their top
Cal
defensemen.
Rosen.
Rosen was going back there with him. Ends up pushing Kadri into Binnington, and I think Rosen actually landed on the knee that Binnington hurt. So it wasn't even Kadri landing on that side, but all hell broke loose. Everybody wanted to kill Nazem Kadri, and I say that not figuratively, literally, with the amount of death threats that dude got. Just stay classy, St. Louis, Missouri. You guys suck when the Chiefs are playing. You guys suck when the Blues are playing. It's just like the fact that you can take it that, like, I've gone pretty far. I will put my hand up. I admit that I've gone pretty far. I have never wished death on somebody or somebody's family over a sporting event like that. That was absolutely insane.
Oh, it's funny, Jimmy, in small little writing right here, caution. Where's the fucking camera? Caution. Jordan Binnington choking hazard on the water ball. He then decided to chuck at his head. It's poetic justice. Look. Binnington, in my opinion, still is far better than Husso. Husso was a fucking trash can tonight. And you saw when he entered game 3, you fucking rip his ass one time. He's letting goals underneath his pad all night. Binnington at least has the poise to stay in there and block some of those away. Husso is a blind man in the net. So this is a big loss for them. You never want to see injury. I want to see Binnington in that. I do. As an Alex fan, I want to kick his ass. It sucks because all you're going to hear is, well, we did not big to be not big. Fuck the excuses. That's what I'm about. Like, fuck the excuses. I wish he didn't get injured. But if to those saying it's a dirty play, Bednar said it best after the postgame thing. It doesn't matter about reputation. It's either a dirty play or it's a clean play. It doesn't matter if the guy has it's a legal play or it's a dirty play. There's one or the other. It doesn't matter what the outcome was. If that was Cale Makar and who did that, that's just seen as another play. Mm-hmm. That's how it is. And because this guy has a reputation, look, no one is saying what he did last year in the playoffs wasn't called for. There's no excusing the Justin Falk hit last year.
He paid for it in the first game this season.
He paid for it. This is different. He rang the bell twice. Two times in St. Louis this year. He dropped the gloves and said, yep, I'm going to own up for it. And then he does. We'll get to what he did in game 4. But to look at him and say that, the man has changed so much farther than what he was. It's a different Kadri. The Kadri from Toronto would have fought everybody on the ice directly after that because of all the shit he got. He knows what he wants. This team knows what they want and what their goal is. It's not to play around with some pussies from St. Louis. Yeah. I'm sorry for my language, but it's not.
You're not wrong.
It's not. Our goal is not through you fools.
Yeah.
You're just a roadblock. You're just a roadblock. You're not our goal. We are not second round heroes over here. It's been a curse that we haven't gone out of second round in I don't know how long, but you're just a number name on the board.
You're just here so that we don't get overconfident going into the conference final matchup. And it's kind of funny. They mentioned it's the first time a Colorado Avalanche team has given up the first goal in 4 straight playoff games since 1996, 97 or 95, 96, which I'll take that because I remember how that season ended.
Yeah, very so.
But I mean, that was the way that they were able to come back. They tie it up at the end of the first. The second period is pretty much dead even, and they get a little. They basically almost let the Blues come back at the end of that second period, very similar to Game 4. But it's been period 3 in both games in St. Louis, which we saw them kind of fall apart in Game 2, and that's where things started to unravel. Period 3, Jared Bednar's got these guys going, and a couple big moments. Lehkonen having his best game as a Colorado
Lehkonen has the best player on the ice for the Avs. I'll say it. Lehkonen has been far away the best player. His forecheck, the way he sets players up, there's a reason why Bedsy had so much confidence in him and putting him on that first line. You haven't been getting production from Mikko, so let's see what Lehkonen does on the first line to try to get Matt going, try to get Landon going, and see if the switch from Mikko does it. Yes, you got an empty net tonight, so that breaks the curse of no goals, but still, like maybe that's all he needed to see is one go in. Yes, it was a wide open net. That's all you need to see. But
he played a lot better in Game 4, overall.
He absolutely did. Yeah, he absolutely did. But Lehkonen, man, like I said, he's been look, it's when we talked about the trade deadline. I remember being like, this is a solid pickup. This is a pickup we're going to talk about in 2 months, and here we are, 2 or 3 months later, being like, this is the fucking steal of the trade deadline. Giroux's ass is fucking at home sitting at a strip club bar right now in Tampa Bay.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
They played the NHL commercial where it shows his face and he's like, he just wants one after the Tampa Bay Lightning swept them tonight. That was just
so
icing on the cake.
So
it was beautiful.
Lehkonen, the guy who almost got there last year in Montreal, is just hungry and is a perfect winger. Been perfect, absolutely perfect for this team.
That was why I was so upset. He ended up drawing a penalty in Game 4. That's why I got upset, because if he's on the penalty kill with the way that he forechecks, and he is fast. Like we talk about McKinnon's speed, we talk about McDavid's speed. Lehkonen's speed is kind of slept on. He's a younger player, hasn't had the establishment in the league so far, but think back to last season when he went on that playoff run with Montreal. Nobody knew who that guy was. It was just some little red dart getting around the net and putting pucks in. So yeah, he had a huge Game 3, and we were able. The Avalanche shark tooth mentality carried itself over from Game 3, losing Girard.
Yeah, that Kendall behind the bench is doing a pretty good job. Don't you think, Jimmy?
That was just
that Kendall.
Like, I get that he's prettier than you, Berube, but
Kendall is looking pretty good behind the bench, huh? Winning 7 of his first 8 playoff games this season, huh? Pretty good, I guess.
I have no words for the stupidity of Berube and everything like that. We don't even have to talk about his incident on the ice. It would just bring the mood down and everything like that. Give the Blues credit, because they are not making this easy, and they didn't make it easy in Game 3. Yeah, we knew that this was worse for worse. We wanted to beat Minnesota just because the rivalry is there. I would say that the rivalry with St. Louis right now is just as heated. So it doesn't even really matter with that.
The Minnesota one's dead at this point. This is your new rivalry. This is your Detroit versus Colorado for 5 straight years in playoffs. Yeah. This is when these two teams face off. It's going to be blood, because it's not like St. Louis is going to go away. They got a bunch of young talent, and they're going to be very good for a long time. And like I said, they're the second most recent Stanley Cup winner for a reason. Yeah. Like they're not going to leave. They're not just going to disappear like that. So this is a rivalry you're going to see for a lot more years. We thought it was going to be Vegas and us, but Vegas just is not nothing anymore. It's us and St. Louis.
Yeah, and St. Louis also had a huge trade deadline as well. Nick Leddy, the defenseman that they picked up from Detroit, has been huge. Just the way that he's able to skate, that was exactly why St. Louis picked him up, because he'd be able to go backward and forward at the same speed as these Colorado forwards.
Try to do the same speed.
He is. He's keeping up with them. Yeah, he's had a good series. I'm not going to say he's had a great series, but let's move on now to the game that we just watched. 6-3, Game 4. Colorado takes a 3-1 series lead, and it has the chance now to close it out on home ice in front of the home crowd. Not going to get too far ahead of myself, but the real story is Nazem Kadri. We mentioned after Game 3, him and his family. The dude has like a 1.5-year-old daughter that was getting these threats made about him. Had a full-on St. Louis police, at least St. Louis, like the city of St. Louis, didn't pull some stupid shit. Had a full-on escort to get to the ice before the game, and then just exploded. It felt like it could be that night. So and after the second goal, you're like, there's no way he doesn't finish this with a hat trick. It has to be.
I called him for the game. I said he's burying 1. I didn't think he buried 3. I threw the bet down. I was like plus 250 odds. He's fucking goal scoring. He's locked in. It's a lot. Like, I knew what he was going to come out firing to do. It's exactly what he did. The seeing the hats on the ice, the boos ran in, the Perron trying to elbow him. It was funny. He was laughing it off. He was. Yeah. Because he knows, like I said earlier, he knows what the ultimate goal is. He doesn't care about these bums. He does not care about these bums. You can boo him. You can spit on him. You can call him all these names.
Jump on top of him and throw punches.
At the end of the day, he's not coming to your low-life city of St. Louis again. No. This ain't coming back for 6. And he doesn't give a nut about it. And look, I said before the series, it's important to get the 2-2. Or before recording before Game 3 and 4, I said it's important to come 2-2 so you gain a home ice back. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing. I said you cannot come back 3-1. You come up 3-1, and you're fucking playing with the house now. You're playing with the house now. You put them away in game 5. You fucking send the deal home and let them know we're not here to play. That is 4, and I count that 4 straight road playoff games in St. Louis that the Avs have won, going back to last year. 6 in a row in total with the 2 from earlier on this year. 6 in a row. So your home ice is cute. It's cute. You can play those Blues, but the only Blues you're playing is the Kaji Woes. So it's tough sledding for you down in St. Louis.
Shout out to the Oregon player. Apparently, I saw Peter Baugh from The Athletic that writes for the beats on the Avalanche was saying that the Oregon player in St. Louis played all the small things for a split second, and then the Avalanche scored 4 goals in the span of like 4.5 minutes. 3 goals in a minute and a half, 4 goals in 4.5. So it was a good night for him. But let's talk about. I want to mention just the big 3. We did mention Mikko did finally break his curse. He scored a goal, whatever, it was empty netter with 1.3 seconds left. Still want to see more offensive production out of him. He led your team in scoring in the regular season. McKinnon and Makar are the 2, like, they're not playing bad games. They're just not playing to the level that we know they can. They are the all-world players of your roster. Everybody else is very damn good. Those 2 are the step above everybody else, or at least that's what we expected them to be. And right now they're being stifled. It's not all them. The Blues are basically just putting their strategy around stopping these 2 guys. But you still would like to see a little bit more out of the 2 of them.
And for Kale's purposes, because I can't talk about Mac for now. I'll speak on Kale here. You can tell he's not full. Like you can tell that injury from, I think it was game 1 or 2 where he dove his ankle straight into the post. You can tell that's still bugging him a little bit. That's why it's so important to finish game 5, so you get that rest. So those 2 at Battle of Alberta just kick the living shit out of each other for 7 games, and you get some more rest for Kale, for Mac. Mac right now, like I said, they're trying to neutralize them with Ryan O'Reilly. That's all they're doing. That whenever Mac's out there, Ryan O'Reilly's out there. And there's a reason why O'Reilly is one of the best in the game constantly, because he is a strong forward, as they call, that will just make not life necessarily hell, but just body the opposing center just constantly for every time they touch the ice. That's just literally that's just be annoying, and he does a great job at it. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, because he's a hell of a player, and probably I still think the best player on that Blues team. Yeah. But right now he's just neutralizing, and that's what he's trying to do. And they're saying everybody else beat you. Well, everybody else beat you. This team's better because number 19, who's sitting in that little sweet box over there next to Bennington's dumbass, is just like, oh man, Cogley, yeah, that was a good piece. Oh, Leckner, I only got like 2 second picks for him. Oh, Taze, we only give up 2 second round picks for him. Oh shoot, Kemper, what we give up for him? 1 first pick. Oh shoot, wow, fuck that. Well, as the Rams general manager said, fuck them picks. Fuck them picks.
They are not needed. They are not needed. And we had a senior citizen playing defense for us today. I have no clue why Jack Johnson got the nod to go tonight, but hey, it worked.
The thought behind it is that when Gerard goes down, the person that you automatically look to replace him is Bo Byram. If you're looking for a guy that is the same stature, has the same quickness, it's going to be Bo. So you got to hope that that's where you're going to come from. Because the one part where you're going to miss him, because look, your defense is still stellar. There's no denying that. Your defense is still one of the best in the league. But the one part you're going to miss is on that second power play unit. Because Kale obviously has the first one. The second one tonight, EJ was heading that one, which I don't mind because he did a hell of a job tonight.
He got a goal, his first goal of the playoffs.
He looked really good tonight, so I think that's what you're going to see going forward. But EJ, it's not like EJ's Kale or Sammy G with the puck. Like he's a big body and can slap it from the outside, but he's not obviously the same skill set as those other 2. So that's where the miss is going to be. But I expect Bo to step up. Jack Johnson, I think what Bedsy was trying to do there, McDermott and the likes of
I don't even know anybody past that.
God.
So
no, there was another guy. I'm spacing on his name. Jack Johnson was the guy throughout the regular season that was just consistently just with EJ. Their J&J line, the jokes galore for that. The Johnson and Johnson line, those 2 just were perfect all year. So it was an easy fit in. McDermott, this game, it was important not to have McDermott on the ice, in my opinion, because you let Nas fight the demons himself.
Mm-hmm.
You said, Nas, we trust you to fight through your demons yourself. You might have to throw McDermott out there to push Toronto out a little bit in Game 5, but I don't mind the Jack Johnson play. He's a guy that's just cup chasing right now. But to me, the biggest play from Bedsy was trying to get some more speed on the third and fourth lines. Yeah. Putting New Hook in the lineup and putting LOC in the lineup too. You take out Sturm and you. Oh no, Sturm was in the lineup. Who did they take out?
They took out Burakovsky.
I know. We'll get to your point there here in a second about Burakovsky and Saad, but they put in New Hook and put in LOC for the first time in this playoffs, and you can tell those two dudes were flying around perfectly. Like it was a perfect just fit and play. Where those two dudes just came in, just flew with their asses like lit on fire. That's exactly what you need. Like I said, it's important to know when you want to get your name etched on the Stanley Cup, it's going to take all the way down to the last person on the bench. Mm-hmm. It's going to take to the third string goalie. It's going to take down to the 20th forward on the lineup. That's just how it's going to be. And having New Hook and the likes of LOC out there, LOC had a big goal in Game 3. I do remember seeing that.
Yeah, his first of his career in the playoffs.
And so those young guys gain this experience. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. People forget. It's not like New Hook is new. It's not like New Hook and Byram are new to this big game atmosphere. Yeah. Both of them played in the Frozen Four. Both of them played in the World Juniors gold medal game. Both of them are known to see the big moments, and they know what it feels like. So, like I said, Bedsy had to make that tough decision. But when you're not getting some production from other guys, you look to the young guns, and that's that shark tooth mentality this team has.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought if one of those guys got moved up, if New Hook got inserted, it would have been for Abe Kubel. But you just can't get rid of him right now with his defensive presence. He's a Philip Deneau. Philip Deneau did not score a ton last year for Montreal when they went on their run, but he was a damn good shutdown second, third line, center, winger, whatever he was playing. He played both throughout the series. So that young line of Kubel, O'Connor, and I think they put Val with that line again. Maybe they had it mixed up a little bit, but it's so far, like I get everything that took place today made sense. There was a reason behind everything. You maybe were thinking, we'll see how this works out. We might have to shake things up again, but you got big games out of Darren Helm, Arturi Lenkinen, Nazem Kadri, just down the line, everybody. Cogliano had a huge block that he had to go to the bench for. Landy blocked a puck, like a slap shot from the point off of his side and didn't even flinch. He's just like, oh, I'm Swedish. It doesn't hurt me. I'm okay. I'm okay.
And Jimmy, the scary part is those names aren't household names.
No.
That means your big names aren't even playing to their potential. You're putting up 6 goals. We'll say 5 because one was an empty netter. Put up 5 goals, even straight goals. You put up five in back-to-back games. 6 obviously with the empty netter. 5 in back-to-back games in Game 3 and 4 on the road. You put obviously Game 2 was the outlier, and Game 1 you come out be poured on as well. And Mac doesn't have a goal. Rico has first empty netter tonight. Gabe McCarr doesn't have one either. That's a scary sight. That is a very, very scary sight for anyone else, because you're knowing that teams are begging for the other guys to beat them. And what are they doing? They're doing it. This is why we'll get to the Tampa series in a second. This is why Tampa has won back-to-back Stanley Cups, because when all the eyes turn to Kucherov, when all the eyes turn to Victor Hedman and Vasilevsky, they go to point. They go to these guys and the second, third lines. They go to their dogs that just bark and bite and just keep going. And that's what these third and fourth line guys are. And look, the Saad over Burakovsky thing, I'm not looking in the past anymore. Saad he had 2 weeks extra of hockey time. Good for him. He picked them. I'm happy for you. And look, we don't make the trade for Lekkinen without the belief that we can have that extra piece. You don't make the trade for Cogliano. You don't make the trade for Stern. Like there's certain pieces that fell in the right way. I would love Saad in this team. But at this point, this team is built the perfect way that look, because Dewey and LOC probably would not have had the production they had during the regular season with Brandon Saad on this team. That's a fact.
Yeah.
When Burakovsky did not have the year that he had last year, but that he had a very, very down year this year, that allowed Nui and Lekkinen and the likes of LLC to just be who they are and what their potential to be. And that's what you're seeing. There's a reason why that guy in the suite level knew what he was doing when he put this team together. Saad was a fantastic piece, but he didn't get the job done last year. And look, he's not getting the job done this year either. He's getting goals, but what's his team doing down? 6-3.
Yeah, I'm not even. I didn't even bring up that point for anything. If you look at it objectively, if you switch out Burakovsky and Saad, it's the same, probably the same exact situation. Maybe Saad has a little bit better of a regular season because I think he did with St. Louis, but the fact that there's no objective difference between the two guys on the ice, and now you are you're seeing what Saad's presence does. He allows for some dangerous chances, but he's not necessarily going to make those chances count.
It's when he's on the ice with world-class players.
Yes. Yeah. They're the same exact level of player. There was no discernible difference, and the way everything else worked out, I'm not even upset. Yeah. The only bad, I would have liked to see Burakovsky not play so poorly that Bednar just decides, I don't even need you on the bench.
I think that was more of just a fire. I think he'll throw him out in game 5. I think he will. I think it was more of you're not.
He's Mr. Elimination Game, so you definitely should throw him out.
Yeah, so that's why I think Bedsy did this, because look, it's a game that you like I said, Bedsy came into this game 4 thinking we took care of what we needed to do. We won game 4. It's just icing on the cake. Like I said with the Tampa Bay Florida series, you win 1 on road ice, you win 2, you're just sitting pretty. Like you win 2 on the road, you're setting yourself up for a series where you only need to win 1 out of the next 3. 1 out of the next 3.
Yep.
And you're telling me this team's not good enough to win 1 out of the next 3, then I don't know what to tell you. So that's exactly what you need to set up.
It was the perfect way for things to go. Other game that happened today, and this also happened yesterday. Florida got shafted. Like they shit the bed themselves, but they got shafted scheduling wise because they played on the same day as the Heat pretty much every game that they played in the series, and then they had to play it back to back because Tampa scheduled a Kane Brown concert the same week that they were going to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You would have thought somebody had been like, oh shit, that's the playoffs. We'll be playing, right?
Our team's 2-time Stanley Cup champions. Oh, fuck.
We're not making the playoffs. No, hell no. Wait, what? Oh yeah. We got to play back to back. I know you guys hate that during the regular season, but yeah, let's make a game 4.
It's probably the first back-to-back in playoff history, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't
especially in the modern era since Bettman took over.
Outside of baseball, where they play every day, a 7-game series almost rarely ever goes back to back.
Yeah. So, and the fact that this was going to be the possible closeout game for them too. If I was Florida, I would be a little bit salty, but hey, you did not do a single thing to deserve to even win a game in that series. And that's why you didn't win a game in that series. Tampa Bay did everything that they needed to. And Andrei Vasilevsky now moves to 7-0 in his last 7 closeout games, and 6 of those 7 were shutouts. The only team that was able to score a goal on him in a closeout game was the Toronto Maple Leafs. They only scored 1. He has given up 1 goal in closeout games in the last 7.
He is the best goalie of this generation. He is the goalie of this generation. It's not
put him on the Mount Rushmore. Put him up there with Brodeur and Waugh.
And Brodeur. Like it's he is just unreal. When I talk about this Avs team too, it's funny. Like obviously we have cup aspirations, but there's a monster waiting. Yeah. That's all I'll say. And if we lose to them, it's gonna suck. But I'll know that I lost to a fucking damn good team. That's all I'll say. Yeah, that's all I'll say. It'll suck, but I will know that I lost to a damn good team. But to continue with this Tampa Bay and this Florida this Florida slander, like I said, they had no leadership. You lose Quenneville, was it first month of the year, maybe second month, whenever all the Chicago Blackhawks stuff came out, that was the end of it. This team was a good regular season team, but there's a reason why they stumbled against Washington. These 2 teams played in the first round last year. They went to 6 games.
Yeah.
This Florida team was supposed to be a lot much better. And then you come in and you lose both on home ice and you get punked 4 in a row in the second round playoffs. Like it's one thing to have home ice and to lose one game. Say, you know what, they beat us one of these nights. We can still protect it, win one game. It's another thing to have home court advantage, home ice, whatever, and to lose 4 in a row. Now you talk about the Nuggets.
Not just lose 4 in a row. You scored 3 goals in 4 games.
Number 88 between the pipes is just scary, dude, man. And he's just really.
But you built up this big juggernaut offense. You brought in Claude Giroux, who is going to be.
Bobrovsky did everything he could to make this team as good as it was, because he just got swamped with everything, and he breaks quicker than most goalies do in the playoffs. Yeah. He sees one goal go in, game's over. That's it with Bobrovsky. He sees one goal go in, and you see one puck goes between your legs, and you look down and you go, Vasilevsky's there. The game's over. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's the first 30 seconds of the game. You let in one, and you see Vasilevsky staring you down as you just let a puck in. That is not a more intimidating sight in sports. When the best goaltender in the world can just stare you down and say, yeah, you fucked up. You fucked up. Now you're going to pay. This one's done.
This is not me asking you if you're okay. This is me telling you you're not okay.
You're not okay. This is done.
That's all I needed. I just needed the one, and now I'm just going to settle in here. It was a pitiful performance from
they threw
President's
Jumbo
Trophy.
Joe out there. Like I said, there's a reason I told you I didn't want that trophy. I didn't want that piece of shit trophy. I didn't want it because the curse behind it.
Yeah. Well, and when you rely on the fact that you had 29 come from behind victories in the regular season, that's not a recipe for success.
Especially against Tampa. Not at all. I don't know how. Please, I hope New York wins, because I bet New York will be the betting favorite against Tampa, because I bet every single game. Tampa money line, Tampa money line. Florida scores, Tampa money line. I kid you not. I won $100 just alone on betting on Tampa Bay, throwing $10 out there just throughout the series in 4 games. I don't know how this series wasn't even questioned. Florida looked so bad, and you're telling me that a team that no one can come back on, you're going to have a shot against? No. That's not going to happen against number 88 between the pipes. It's not. You fall that hard, you throw Jumbo Joe out there. Like I said, right now you're just doing Carter Hart, or not Carter Hart. Spencer Knight. You're doing Spencer Knight injustice. Because look, he could have got valuable minutes in Game 4. He could have had value because you have a good team. You do. There's no denying that. Bobrovsky is not your goaltender of the future. Spencer Knight is. You could have threw him out there, gave him some potential time, and seen what you got from the kid. Because, like I said, this series was over after 2-0. Mm-hmm. You weren't coming back to your lonely-ass arena that Kane Brown sold more seats for.
You and your 15 fans are not going to have a good time if you want to make a comeback.
You're a hockey fan in the state of Florida. You are not a Florida Panthers fan. Let's just put it that way. If you're a hockey fan in the state of Florida, you are a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. Yes. That's it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anybody cared about Florida Panther hockey, if Spencer Knight doesn't start the season next year, there's going to be a riot, but nobody would know because there'd be like 10 people at the arena.
No. It's
Spencer Knight would look around and be like, I played more in front of more people in juniors. This is ridiculous.
It was just legit hilarious how they were plus odds or even odds at minimum, like minus 110 odds to win games. I was like, are you serious right now? Like I don't know what the odds makers were thinking. Like you
the odds makers were smoking the same thing that the TNT schedule makers were smoking earlier tonight.
I was just like, come on now. Like they don't have a shot in this series. They don't. After Game 1, I was like, you just let that goal go in. You were up by that much, and then you let them come back in the game and put 3 up on you. And what was it, last 2 minutes of the game? Mm-hmm. You're done for. Like it was. Like I said, there's a reason why Tampa's a wagon. Yeah. An absolute wagon.
Yeah, now we have to just – I mean, I've been grasping at straws the entire time thinking that they were going to be tired from playing so many playoff games. And now I just got
to – Stanley Cup final to get there. But
yeah, I just hope that I just hope that this rest period that they're about to get, because New York could come back and make this thing a series against Carolina. Carolina doesn't close people out. Hopefully the rest is going to rust them up a little bit, but I don't think so. They won tonight's game, and I'm looking at the box score here. Their points came from Pat Maroon on Dredge Palat.
That Pat Maroon goal was fucking nuts. The cross stick over the goalie's head to tap that in. The game should have been 4-0. There was 2 goals in the, it was either the second or first period that were called back. So it's not like that. The game was closer than 2-0.
The same thing that we were talking about with Colorado. You're not even having the top guys beat you. And Tampa Bay just went out there in a closeout game, basically did what Miami did and pitched a reliever game in the closeout game and still won. It didn't even matter. Like PT Belmar was playing more minutes than most of the other guys on the ice, and things were never out of hand. Florida was never close to coming back.
No, not even sniffing. Yeah.
All right. You want to go Calgary, Edmonton first? You want to go Carolina, New York?
Eeny, meeny, miny shit show.
Yeah,
I can go either one. Go Calgary.
Which one?
Let's go Battle of Alberta.
Battle of Alberta. All right. Edmonton is leading the series 2-1.
No, Jimmy. Connor McDavid is leading the series 2-1.
Well, is it Connor McDavid or is it Evander Kane?
Either one, it's both of them. It's those 2 guys.
And Leon. Leon's doing all this with a high ankle sprain. He's got like 7 points in the last 2 games.
Man, I had so much more high expectations for Calgary. Lucic trying to take out Mike Smith. That if you want to see a fucking running into the goalie, look what Lucic did to Mike Smith. Because that's a run. That's a runaway freight train coming at you. Mm-hmm. But man, McDavid is just doing some ungodly things. Evander Kane is licking his chops playing on the same line as him.
Yes.
He's like, holy fuck, this guy is this good. I am wide open. And San Jose, when he played for San Jose, he was the guy. Like it was Pavelski, it was the Carlsons, but he was the goal scorer on that team. Now he's the second or third option. He's like, holy fuck. These guys aren't guarding me. Where'd they go?
Yeah,
I'm open because it takes 4 guys to look at McJesus to stop him.
McJesus just decides when he wants to score. I was watching. I think it was game 1. Actually, it was game 2. It was before they actually came back and took the lead. But Calgary had scored on a playoff goal. And then on the next shift, McDavid was just pissed off, took the puck by himself and then scored. But then it got called back. So then he went fine and then assisted on that actual goal that counted. I was like, what am I watching?
It's one of the greatest talents the hockey world has ever seen.
Yeah,
and look, we're blowing him smoke, but
might be the greatest, honestly.
Like one of the most skilled. There's no one that'll touch Gretzky's records, but this guy has the most skill they've ever seen on ice, and that includes all the Paulo Uno and the likes of motherfucking Nathan Chen, the guy who won the Olympic gold medals for figure skating. We're talking about we are seeing nothing like this ever on skates. On ice, it is Disney on Ice can't put a better show out than this guy. What he's doing, man. I mean, it's something. It really is something. If you don't live on the East Coast and you have nothing to do at night, throw on this game.
Just turn on the game.
Just turn on the game because you'll watch them and holy fuck, how the hell do you do that? Like it's literally that's this whole series.
Yes.
Because Calgary's doing shit too. You're like.
Well, yeah, because on the other side, you got Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, who are both very good offensive players, and they are just completely outshined by the 97 coming up the ice. The dude had him and Draisaitl both had 4 assists on Sunday night. Kane had 3 goals, and Edmonton won the game 4-1. That was the first game at Rogers Place. It wasn't even Calgary's up 2. They're probably going to relax a little bit. Edmonton just decided, no, fuck this. I am not losing to my in-province rival. Maybe it'll change. It probably will. I think this series is going to go 7. I think both teams are going to take
up to it too. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we're recording this before Game 4 happens, but I think it does. There's no doubt, and it's better for us if it does.
They're just going to keep taking swings at each other. They're both going to think that they knocked the other out, and the other's just going to stand back up and swing again. And I'm here for it. By the way, the defense, I think that's where Edmonton actually holds the edge is defense, because you got Duncan Keith, You got Zach Hyman. They're not, and Darnell.
Yeah, good old buddy Tyson Berry.
Yep. Well, Tyson Berry scored an own goal. Good, but yeah, Tyson Berry scored an own goal, so I don't want to mention him. But they have the edge defensive wise, just with those three players. And Duncan Keith is a guy that I like to see have a little bit of success in the twilight of his career. He had obviously some success with Chicago, but it was down for him. So seeing him back and seeing him score, that was huge. Just kind of the same feels that I got when EJ scored his from the point on Monday night as before we were recording this. The goaltending though. The goaltending is just atrocious.
It's so bad. But we were saying, well, this Dallas Calgary series, it's so boring. Like they score a total of 14 goals. Listen, all right, well, let's have.
You want goals?
You want goals? Let's show goals.
I'll show you goals.
Defense optional.
Yeah, I think. Yep. Calgary and Edmonton both, except for Calgary in Game 3, have scored more goals than Florida did in their entire series just in that game. There's 9-6 in Game 1, 5-3 in Game 2, 4-1 in Game 3. So that's where we're sitting with this Battle of Alberta.
It's like I said, the series is just drunk. It's so fucking hammered.
Battle of Alberta defense option.
So hammered.
Dude, Daryl Sutter's just got to be losing his mind on the bench because Daryl Sutter's he's the definition of the Vic Fangio in hockey. He's a defensive-minded coach, and he's just out there watching like, we cannot stop anything.
Jimmy, it's not losing his mind. It's what the fuck are you doing? You motherfuckers need to pick this up.
Yeah.
Same fucking facial expression. We're like, we're not getting the job done. You all suck. On to the next one.
I will tell you, if I need to fall asleep, if I'm having trouble falling asleep, I just throw on the 2012 Kings championship documentary, and he talks for about 5 minutes. And I'm just like, oh, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Daryl. You're the best lullaby of all time. Last series that we have here, Carolina and New York, 2-1 Carolina, but the Rangers were able to pull one out on their home ice on Sunday. So they won that game 3-1 and now setting up Game 4, where if New York is able to win this one, it is a 3-game set. That's all you gotta hope for.
And then all you have to do is just take one from the opposing ice, which is easier said than done.
Neither of these teams have been very good at that.
No, neither. Yeah, especially if both first rounds. I'm pretty sure neither of these teams won, or maybe New York won one road game.
I think New York did, but then New York was up 3-1 and then let Pittsburgh come all the way back to push them to 7-2.
So. Oh no! Pittsburgh was up 3-1. Yeah, Pittsburgh was up 3-1. So they did win 2 in the row. Either way, both teams. Like the Canes team, they need Anderson back in the pipes. Ranta had a good first 2 games. You're seeing that inexperience. He's just not been. He's been stellar on even man rushes, but when it comes to that odd man rushes, he is just getting burnt. Yeah. And same with Igor. You're seeing goals go under their armpit, like things that PB hockey goalies are taught. When you go in for a save, you keep them pits tight so that the puck doesn't slide through. Things that are taught in 3rd grade, 4th grade goaltenders, like they have in the series. And listen to your team, like. That's the other thing. What I want to say about New York, like their stars aren't playing well. Like Bredman has not played well at all.
Panarin is not there.
He is not there. He is not physically there, basically.
Yeah.
Like Kako has not literally done as much as you and I in that series. And Lafreniere is the only person that's done anything for them. They're having to rely on their defensemen and Adam Fox and all those studs and Trouba. Like they're having to rely on those guys to win them these games. And at some point, it's not going to catch up to you. And because they don't have the depth. Igor is a Vezina and a Hart finalist for a reason. Like he was outstanding, but at some point, like I said, Igor's a guy you get in his head. You just go to Igor Island. You start swimming. I'll say the same innuendo I did last week. You start swimming, things get rough, and then he just starts to crumble. So that's all Carolina has to do, and the firepower. It's just not there. It's a defensive war of who's going to fuck up less today. That's the best way to put it. The Eastern Conference has one monster just staring down everybody, saying, "Y'all are the team I have to face."
Do you guys even want me to like? Do you guys just want me to go to the finals at this point?
This is the best the East has to offer. Like the East was supposed to be so damn good this year. Like this is the best you'll have to offer. A sorry ass Toronto team that hasn't won a first round series in 20 years. Florida team that should not even have a hockey team at this point, and the other two dumbs are over there just beating the shit out of each other, not knowing that we're gonna have a full week's rest. Just waiting. A full week's rest. Vasilevsky, full week's rest. He's not letting in those BS goals like Igor and Ranta are doing. He's not. It's not gonna fly.
No, when Ian Cole is your hero from game one. I love Ian Cole. Like he put in some good years with us, but that ain't no offensive defenseman. And neither side right now. Like if you just look at New York's lineup, Zibanejad, Lafreniere.
Zibanejad has been one of the bright spots for them. He's played well. Same with Lafreniere, but besides that, like I said,
they have a top line that should be able to at least keep you in these games. Yes. They have a top line that can compete with anybody, and they can get to any goaltender. Just they have to remember, oh yeah, we're playing. I'm not spectating. I'm actually supposed to be doing something here. I thought that I could just stand here and watch. Somebody else is going to take over, right? No, that's not happening. And Carolina, it comes down to the same thing that I said for the last 2 episodes, I'm pretty sure, on Carolina. Give me your superstar. You don't have one.
It's Aho, and that's about it.
And that's not a great superstar. He's good. He's a good player, but he is not a number one. He should be a very good, solid number 2 or 3 somewhere. He shouldn't be the leader of your top line. That ain't a top guy.
They play great team hockey. That's the one thing to say about Carolina. They're a great team hockey team. They're not going to have those ones. But when it comes to the playoffs, you have to have one guy or 2 guys that are just red hot, or else you're not going to go far. You can play great team hockey, but you don't have that one guy that you can look at and be like, all right, Mac, or be like, for the Avs, all right, Mac, or McCarr, go get us one. Yeah. You're not going to do that for Aho or the likes of their back-end guys. Like, it's just not going to happen.
No, and the only teams that have done what they're trying to accomplish, winning a Stanley Cup without a star, Carolina did it back when they won their first cup. Tampa Bay did it when they won their first cup. Other than that, every team has pretty much had at least one premier goal scorer or player that was top echelon, along with a couple other really solid pieces around them. Carolina is trying to do the impossible. They're basically I can't even think of what a good analogy would be.
You're trying to throw out Niederreiter, and you're trying to throw out the Max Domis of the world that don't have much experience, that just aren't coming through for you. Like I said, you have Slavin on the back line that can produce for you, but like if you're really going to your back line defender to produce for you in a big time goal, you're not going to win May series. Yeah, that's just not going to happen.
It's interesting. There's like, I'd say 3 teams right now that have a realistic chance. After watching what the Blues just put out there on Monday night, though, I would say if they go up against Tampa Bay, because they're going to beat, actually, honestly, St. Louis might get beat by whoever wins the Battle of Alberta. If they don't have Binnington.
Jimmy, knock on wood, because we don't say that lead, because that lead is very treacherous in the state. We see what happens.
I didn't say anything about the lead that the Avs have. I'm just saying if the Blues were to play the winner of the Battle of Alberta, I think that the Blues with Billy Husso could give up some stinkers, and then
McDavid, if they were to get Bennington back or Husso, they'd swap goalies so quick, because McDavid would undress both of them so damn quick. It'd be night and day for them.
Yeah. But I'd say there's only a couple teams that have realistic chances that I at least sit here on May 23rd and think, yeah, this is a team that I could see hoisting the Stanley Cup at the end of the year. Other than that, it's a lot of teams like, wow, how did we get here? How did we find ourselves in this situation? And that's, I guess, an interesting kind of what's up, bench warmers. All right. Yeah, this is not going to be the same kind of episode that we had on Wednesday. This is going to be different. That was awful. That was not good. From the second half of the second period on, that was about as bad as the Avalanche have played since game 2. And now the series is going back to St. Louis for game 6. So we're coming right after that game, only game in town tonight. And St. Louis, I mean, unfortunately, got to give credit to them. There's some good plays made by the Avalanche, some good performances. So there's not not everybody had a negative night, but in the biggest moments, it was bad. So let's just go ahead and address that. Nick, your initial thoughts.
Well, first of all, McKinnon, it was a waste of one of the best performances of the postseason from Nathan McKinnon. There's no doubt about that. It seemed to be I want to call it a three-man show because no one else decided to play. Byram had a good night. Landy had a good night. Mac had a good night. Everyone else was completely quiet the whole night. I will say this though: what Max said after the game is nail on the head. You've been presented a unique opportunity. Look, we all knew it would have been nice to beat the Blues in 5. We all said it before the series started. Before we got into the series, if we would beat these guys in 5, it'd be nice. But we all know that we all figured that St. Louis was the second best team in the West. There's a reason why we all said that for a reason. The team is better than a 5-game series. That's the fact of the matter is. Yes, they have shot themselves in the foot tonight. You lose a 3-0 lead. You have a hat-trick performance from your best player. That all sucks. But to me right now, I'm looking at it as what the series as Game 4 happened as Game 5, in my opinion. You split the home series. You still have home ice advantage, right? Now if we think this team is as good as we think they are, you just have to win one of 2, right? That's how you gotta look at it. You can look in the past. You can say this team hasn't won a second round series in 20 years, and all that's true. But the best thing to do is stop thinking about that and look to what you can do to fix that right now. Because look, as much as fun as it would have been to win a home ice and go to the one, it's a lot sweeter sending them home on their home ice. That's the fact of the matter is. It's a tough loss. It's not a good one. It's a game that the Avs are going to look back at how the hell we blew this. But come tomorrow morning, you don't think about that. Come the morning before this episode is coming out, you don't think about that. You move on. All right, time to forget that one in the past. We blew that one away. Yes, we did. We blew that one away, but now we have to focus our way because we have a unique advantage still in our hands, and you have time to recuperate and see what you're going to do from here on out.
I have no problem with the series going 6. I have a problem with the series going 6 in the same exact fashion that you've been eliminated 2 years ago from the playoffs. You have the lead the entire game. You give up a tie late. You score one to get the lead back, and then you give up another tying goal 50 seconds later and lose it in overtime. It is the same exact rinse and repeat from Dallas. So I see this as a pattern now. I'm not gonna talk about my feelings on Friday's game, but this does not sit well. I don't care that I know St. Louis is good enough to push it to 6. I'm not saying that they aren't, and they damn sure proved it tonight because they put together basically that shouldn't have happened for them. They shouldn't have had any chance. Based on the last 2 games, Colorado should have just been able to go down in that third period and shut them down. And they got too fancy. They tried to play defense and play prevent instead of sticking with their game that was working and dominating the Blues. And that's on them. And that's going to be something that these players, I hope that they listen to everybody the next 2 days. Listen to it, feed off of it, try and change it, because right now that's the damn truth. Whatever anybody says about this team is the truth until proven otherwise. And that's where I'm sitting on it. I agree with you. It wasn't like everybody besides McKinnon and a couple other guys not really there in spurts. EJ going from having couple of his best games to absolutely letting those last 2 goals go in basically by himself, not covering the open man in front of the net. So there's a lot that they'll be able to look at. It's not going to be a question as to why they lost that game. Jared Bednar should be able to put together about a 5-minute video of all the plays that lost in that game tonight. And now you just got to take it and learn from it for tomorrow. Like they're professionals. They'll bounce back from it. I'm not saying that they won't, but you can't give me that same shit performance that you've given me for the last 3 years and expect me to be okay with it.
The one performance that this game is solely not on is Darcy Kemper. He's going to want that overtime game winner back.
100%. 4 goals off their last 12 shots.
So look, no. Let's be honest. Also, the rushing of the net, the last 3 goals outside of the overtime winner were not his fault. There were bad bounces that goaltenders are supposed to keep them in front of them. But when you have 3 Blues guys in front of you instead of 2, that's on the guys in front of the net. It's a fact of the matter it is. Darcy had a pretty decent night, except for the OT winner that he wanted back. And if you're Darcy Kemper, you got to take that momentum from how you played in St. Louis in game 3 and 4, and hopefully turn that around and put that in game 6. Because like I said, your defense, which has been the backbone of this team, has been the worst part of this team. It absolutely has in the postseason. It's not even close. Caleb McCarr has not shown up this playoffs, and your best defenseman this series has been a guy who's playing his first career playoff series in Bo Byram. And it's not even close. EJ was good for 1-2 games, but Bo Byram has been the most consistent guy. Jack Johnson has not done anything since you're seeing the loss of Sam Girard completely. The second power play line, you go 1 for 2 tonight. 1 for 2, or might have been 0 for 1 tonight. Whatever it was, 1 for 2 tonight. Both chances you have great ones, but you're seeing that massive loss of Sammy G there. So look, there's things obviously that you can fix. This is not unfixable things. That's the good thing about this. This is not tear the whole fucking house down type of game. You shot yourself in the foot. You absolutely did. And now you just have to come back the other way and see what you got. See what this team's made of.
But where's the confidence going to come from that this team is actually going to do that? Because we've had this same conversation.
I'll show you
now.
Exactly where it's coming from. It's coming from number 29.
29. That's fine.
Number 29. That's the only one.
We've literally had the same conversation 2 times on this podcast right now. Actually, 3 times, because we've had 3 NHL playoff runs since we started this show. This is the same exact conversation that we've had in the same exact moment in time too. It's rinsing and repeating itself right now. So why there is no confidence that they're going to be able to turn this thing around? They've proven as a consistent pattern that this is what they are and this is where they're going to stay. I'm not making that my prediction. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the feeling about this team that they're going to have the next 2 days is damn warranted. And until they knock it off themselves, this is what that team is. They're a bunch of choke artists. We are the Atlanta Falcons of the NHL. We are the Philadelphia 76ers of the NHL. We cannot do anything past this round. And if it happens for 4 years in a row, that's when there's no more excuses. There's nothing else you can say. You can't give me a goaltender stood on his head. Darcy Kemper got outplayed by Billy Husso down the stretch in the third period, especially.
I'm not saying he didn't. But some of those goals, you cannot tell me, were on his back too.
The first goal that he let in, the first goal that got St. Louis back in the game at the end of the second period was a bad rebound. The defense didn't help him out, but Kemper gave up a bad rebound.
Absolute snipe by Tarasenko.
No, it wasn't a snipe. It was just a rebound that hit over the top of him.
That went top right, blocker side.
You let a scrub like Justin Falk tie the game. I don't want to hear it. Justin Falk. Oh my goodness. That's all I gotta say. I don't want to talk about Friday. I'm going to keep my opinions out of that.
I still see a 3-2 series. That's all I'm seeing right now. And like I said, I still see a 3-2 series and a team that just had its best player on the team all season long finally get his groove. So, in my opinion, did this one stink? Yes, it absolutely does. But you still have a 3-2 series lead, unlike in years past where you went 2-2. Or you like I said, we have to win 1 of 3. We lost the first one. You still have 2 opportunities. It doesn't matter if you're going to a place where you've won 8 straight or 6 straight road games going back to last year's playoffs. 2 there, 2 this year, and 2 during the regular season. You're going to a place where you've done 6 in a row, and now you're seeing what this team's made of.
The losses like I said, the loss doesn't bother me. How they lost bothers me. That cannot happen. That cannot be allowed. That has to be something where somebody blows up in the locker room, because this is, I feel like it's been just kind of swept under the rug, or, it will bounce back from it in the past, and it hasn't been addressed directly, and it has to be addressed directly now. You have to have your leaders step up. I'll say Landy had a better game, got robbed a couple of times in front of the net, but Landeskog, McKinnon were your only 2, and everybody else just stopped playing after the second period. I don't know what it was. It's almost a detriment sometimes to have a player like McKinnon. Now, that goal that finished off the hat trick, in the conversation for one of the best playoff goals in team history, just for what he was able to do. 200 feet by himself, 2:46 left, and he goes and gets you the lead back. So that is a seminal moment in franchise history that you can look at and go, Okay, this guy, we at least know that this guy is not backing himself off of anything.
That play is exactly why I see the difference between this team in the last 2 years. That play exactly right there. Because McKinnon, the last 2 years, is the guy that would stand back and make sure everyone else made him play. This is a different Nathan McKinnon than what we've seen in years past. It is not even close in the second round playoffs. The guy that did not record a point in the until game 4 in last year's second round versus Vegas. A guy that did virtually nothing against Dallas 2 years ago. It's a different Nathan McKinnon. That's why I'm sitting here 3-2 saying, all right, Nathan McKinnon is pissed off. If there's one guy that holds more people accountable, and from the stories we've heard, it's Nathan McKinnon. If you look at what the guy wearing your C on your chest, that showing he's been the second best player on this team tonight and the series. He has been perfect through and throughout, crashing the net and getting shots off open for open guys. You have to get production from the other ones. And look, Kadri did it in game 4. And look, who's going to be the guy in game 5? Because Mac can't score 4 goals. He can't score 4 goals. This is the NHL playoffs. Unless you have Vasilevsky in between the pipes, you're not going to be winning games 1-0, 2-1. This is the NHL playoffs where everybody has 3 deep lines for a reason. You're going to have different guys step up.
Just don't shit down your leg and go into complete prevent mode halfway through the second period. That's all I want to see. Don't get too cute for your own good. Do what works. You know what works. You know how you can beat this team. You've dominated them 5-on-5. So don't give up stupid penalties like they did a couple times tonight. The penalty kill actually was another bright spot of this game. But you can't give up stupid penalties and lose momentum off plays where you're just not mentally there. They get points in the game where they are so lazy getting the puck out of the corners, and that's where St. Louis has made all of their money in this series, and that's why all these games have been relatively close. There has not been a game where you could say, because game 1 you could say maybe they outplayed them that much physically, but on the scoreboard it's still a 1-goal win. And these other 2 games, you got a lot of empty nets that make the score a little bit more out of reach. The Blues are winning in the areas that matter in the playoffs, and the Avalanche are not winning those enough. So they got to have a total mindset shift going into game 6.
And look, the hockey playoffs is different than any other sport or any other 7-game series. It is the hardest sport to ever close a team out. It is not even close. Whether it be basketball, basketball teams usually lay dead. Baseball teams, if you're down in a series is basically over after 2-0. Hockey is the hardest sport to close a 7-game series out. It
doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, but it is. Not even with the Avs, but every team, unless you're Tampa Bay, has struggled to close a series out. Every team in the playoffs. Even going back to St. Louis against Minnesota, they struggled in that game 6 until they pulled away when they needed to. Every team has to fight over a hump, and it's whether or not this team can do it or not. And in my opinion, number 29 is playing like this, and you get some help from your back line and some help from your 3rd and 4th line, then you're going to be in a good shape, and you'll come back with a couple days rest, and you'll get to go play in Canada the next series.
I think that they're going to not have the rest in if they do make it through the series, because Edmonton is kind of just putting it on Calgary right now. We'll see what happens in game 6 and see actually game 5. We'll see what happens in game 5, and if Edmonton runs into the same struggles closing out Calgary, but it might not be a bad thing if they are able to get through this and bounce back on Friday. It might not be a bad thing to not have the rest, because the rest seems to actually do more hurt to them than good. And I don't know why that is. I wish that it wasn't the case, but got to deal with what we're dealing with right now. And it's not like it hasn't happened in the past. There's been stinkers in the past. We had a stinker earlier on this series. But it is just frustrating to see it happen over and over and over again. And I'm sitting in the same exact place.
Let's see if you know this answer. How many games did the 2001 Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup team lose?
They lost 7.
They lost 7. And the 96 one, they lost 10. This is your second.
I get that. And like I said, it's not the amount of losses that they lose. It's the way that they end up losing these games. They have not lost a game where I would say that they played perfect. They always have a mental lapse that loses them the game. That's the issue.
And look, I'm expecting this series to go 7. That's just the way I'm expecting it. You worked your ass off all year to be one of the best team in the West, So to have the home ice, you would like to take care of business and finish a game in Game 6 in St. Louis. But I'm expecting to go to Game 7 and to see what this team is made of. I think this team, like I said,
I
I'm
don't want
not
it.
a
If it
person.
goes 7, I'm definitely out on that. I don't see this team winning in 7 right now.
Well, look, we can differ on that then, because like I said, if you're gonna break a hurdle, you might as well do it in the most dramatic way possible.
I guess, yeah. I hope it happens. I'm hoping I'm not talking about the same exact thing when we record next after Game 6, and hopefully not Game 7, but it's always a possibility. It is the NHL playoffs, and anything can happen. Speaking of which, series that we'll kind of preview because they're going to be playing. We're recording this a day early because former guest of the show Dom turned 21 today. So shout out Dom.
Happy birthday, Dom.
Yeah, birthday shout out for Dom. And Ed graduated high school. So two things happened, two good things on the same day.
Big week on Powerhouses.
For this Oilers Flames series, it's 3-1 Oilers. Connor McDavid is doing what Nathan MacKinnon, similar things, actually, maybe a little bit more because it was 2 games in a row that he's done that. But
Connor McDavid is doing what Nathan MacKinnon did tonight every single game of the whole entire playoffs.
Yeah, he's making this team what they are. Evander Kane is just picking up the scraps between Draisaitl and McDavid, getting a total of 8 assists in a single game. And Markstrom just doesn't look like Markstrom looks like he's lost his mojo from that first round, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get it back. I don't think Calgary has a guy. They don't have a situation with St. Louis where you technically have 2 starting caliber goaltenders, but Markstrom has been really bad. And I mentioned it on Wednesday's episode. Edmonton has the edge along the blue line, and Calgary's defense sucks. Calgary's defense, you could basically just walk through, except for Big Z in Nikita Zadorov and maybe Lucic sometimes. But Calgary just lets you score at will, and they think that they could just outscore you at all times. Complete opposite of what Daryl Sutter would like them to be. But right now, where do you see? Is your confidence high, or do you have any confidence at all that Edmonton's going to close this thing out?
No, this series will go 6. They're not going to win one in Calgary. I'll tell you right now.
They won one in Calgary.
I know they have. I don't think they'll close it out in Calgary. Like I said, it's different between closing teams out. It's a little bit different, and I think Calgary can win another game because I don't think Edmonton is a 5-game series better than Calgary in general. I think Calgary still has a lot of firepower up front that they can match and try to neutralize the supporting cast of McDavid, because you're not going to be able to slow down McDavid. You can try to slow down everyone else and hope that it comes out on top. Mike Smith, in my opinion, like I said, Mike Smith, I think, is the worst goalie left in the playoffs. I'll even put him below Husso. And below Igor, obviously, below Vasilevsky, before Darcy.
I wouldn't put him below Markstrom right now.
It's like I said, it's the 2 worst goalies. That's what I'm saying. It's those 2 right along with one another. So it's who's going to break more. And Markstrom has done the most recently, but Mike Smith has done the most around town in the playoffs. Talk about a guy who has not really sniffed this much playoff success since being on the Arizona Coyotes in 2013 when they made the Western Conference Finals. Yes, that Arizona Coyotes team that made the Western Conference Finals. He's been on some good teams that have done some things, but no one with the expectations like what McDavid is doing in front of him. So, like I said, I think he'll break. But there's a reason why I still think St. Louis or Colorado, whoever wins this series, will roll through one of these 2 teams because they don't have the depth. They have 3 guys, and all 3 of those guys play on the first line, sometimes on the second line, with one of them there. And for a sustainable series, you can win a couple rounds like that, but you're not going to be able to do that to ride your way to the Cup final with a goalie on Mike Smith or Jakob Markstrom's level for that long.
My bold prediction is that Edmonton is going to do something funky in that game and end up closing it out in 5. That's what I'm thinking. So by the time people are hearing this, I'm either going to be proven right or wrong. But that's where I'm sitting right now with that series. The New York and Carolina series, I sit a little bit differently. We're in lockstep that the away team, whoever's going to be able to steal an away game or the team with home ice advantage is going to be able to win this thing. And right now, New York has their first opportunity to prove whether or not they can win away from MSG in this series. It's looked decent for them so far, just in the 2 games that we saw back in New York. So they look like an actual playoff team again. But this is really just a series of who wants to go and get slaughtered next round. Tampa Bay, neither of these 2 teams have any answer, and I'm seeing Carolina win in the next game of this series. I don't think that New York's going to be able to go back to back and steal a road game this early in the series. I think Carolina is probably going to close this one out in 7 games.
Okay, look, if there's one team I'm confident in winning a road game, it's going to be New York. Like if I were to pick one team, like look, because the Kings right now have played terrible on the road. They were not good in that last game on Tuesday night. They were not good at all. And then Igor stepped on his head. If I'm looking at what Carolina puts out on the road, it's very tough. But right now, the Rangers are the more talented team. There's no doubt about that. And these guys don't have their best guys playing with. That's the scary part. Like we said last episode, who from Carolina do we really think is going to be able to step up offensively and continue? Like, look, they can win 2-1 games at home all week, all night long. But at some point, what happens when New York gets a little bit of juice flowing and they come down with the ice tilted toward their end? And when that happens, I don't think Carolina can stick through that. That's the thing. When you have Antti Raanta and net, if they had Anderson, it's a different story. If they had Anderson and net, it's a completely different story. Antti Raanta has been good at home, but on the road, he's been an absolute toothpick between the pipes. So that's why I think New York can still come out of this. I think they lose in 5 to Tampa Bay, but either way, it's I would trust New York more in terms of taking one on the road necessarily and trying to break that ice because of how well they played at home this series.
It's kind of a question as one team, can they do it in Carolina? Can they push themselves to another level without a superstar? And in New York, it's will they do it? They have the superstars on their roster. Will they come out and play? And I think both teams were right in the same situation as what I said with the Colorado Avalanche. Whoever proves it to me, I'm going to go ahead and answer that question for them. You're going to be able to take over. You have total control of your own destiny and how this series ends up, because neither team has played a stellar game against the other. So whoever is able to find their groove is going to be able to make it through this series. I tend to lean towards Carolina just because New York seemed to fall apart at the first sign of adversity in the first round. And Carolina, they just win home games so far. That's all I'm saying about them. I don't have good confidence in either of these teams.
Yeah, 6-0 on the road at home, 0-5 on the road.
It's not a recipe for success.
I don't think in the history of NHL, NBA, or of 7-game series playoffs that team has ever won every single home game and lost every single road game and made it to the conference finals. I don't think that's ever happened.
No, I don't think it has either. And that